Yow. We're back for round two. Hudi is on 8 cast, and Steven is on Temur Cascade. So earlier we got to see Hudi win versus Justin, so this should be a 1-0 matchup. So Steven taking a mulligan, Hudi joining him as well. So it looks like Steven is on the play since he mulliganed first. Steven taking a second mulligan, going down to 5. Hudi keeping his hand of 6. So Steven is on to 5 cards, so mulliganing down to 5, so he mulliganed twice. Hudi kept his hand of 6. So it looks like we're about to get started. Steven keeps a hand of Seeming Spirit Guide, land with an Uro in hand, and he does have the Violent Outburst. So it looks like he's considering pitching one of the Simian Spirit Guides, and I think that might be a Brazen Borrower. So it looks like he's pitching the Uro. So it is an Elvish Spirit Guide that he kept. So he does have turn 1 Cascade, or Crashing Footfalls. So I think he might be trying to play around a Daze just in case. So this is a turn 1 Crashing Footfalls. There we go. So we have 2 4/4 Rhinos with Trample onto the battlefield for turn 1. No responses from Hudi. So Hudi draws for turn. Cast Ancient Tomb, Mishra's Bauble, Lotus Petal. A little difficult to see what he has. It looks like there's an Emery in there, which is what he's casting. So it does work. The Lotus Petal does count towards the lowering of the mana cost, and then he can use the Lotus Petal again to generate the blue mana. I'm not sure exactly what Hudi is thinking about here. Tapping for 2, casting Clown Car. So we've seen this from Hudi before. So I think he gets to roll 2 dice, If it's evens, he puts a +1/+1 counter onto the clown car. If it's odds, he will make a 1/1 clown token, I think. I think that's what its type is. But it's definitely a 1/1. The good thing is, all this attributes to affinity for artifacts. So quite good. So I think so there is a Chalice of the Void in Hudi's hand. Steven suspends another Crashing Footfalls after attacking for 8. So Hudi plays Urza Saga off the top of his library. I think that's a Thought Monitor in his hand. So casting a Lotus Petal, that brings him down to, or up to, 4 artifacts. So he should be able to cast this Thought Monitor if he wishes. I mean, it could be possible to just play the Chalice of the Void on 0 and then play the Thought Monitor. It saves a little bit of health. I don't think he would need to crack or use the Ancient Tomb. Right? It was 1, 2, 3, 4. He would still need to crack the Ancient Tomb. Or use the Ancient Tomb. So Steven just double checking the math there. I think he was also trying to see if he needed to take the 2 life. That was a very strong opener from Steven. He dodged the Chalice on 0. Top decks a Fire and Ice. So Hudi animating the car to block, takes 6, and then now Steven is shocking for 2. And that is a quick game 1 to Steven. So we are here getting ready for game 2. So it looks like Hudi has a Kappa Cannoneer, Aether Spellbomb, Thought Monitor in hand. The other cards don't look good enough to keep. So Hudi going down to 6. Steven has Fire and Ice. 2 lands. It looks like there's a Misty, a Tropical. There's a Crashing Footfalls in there as well. A little hard to see, but also not good enough to keep 6. Or keep 7. So looking at Hudi's hand, he has a Pithing Needle, Urza Saga, Ancient Tomb. I think there might be a Thought Monitor in there as well. And there's a Mox Opal for sure. So he is going to keep the 6. It might be a Psy in the middle there, but it is quite hard to tell. Let's have a look at Steven's potential 6. So Simian Spirit Guide, Wooded Foothills, Prismatic Vista, Elvish Spirit Guide. I'm not sure what the blue spell at the end is, but it must have a Cascade spell in there if he's considering keeping this hand. Otherwise, the blue card might be a powerful hate spell for artifacts. So that looks like a Shardless Agent. I think there also might be a Scalding Tarn, the second to last card in Steven's hand. So Hudi's going to start us off with an Urza Saga. Yeah, so can't tell what that last card is. I'm just not familiar with the artwork. So there is a Pithing Needle. Not sure exactly what it named. I'm curious to what it might be. It might be Uro. Uro is the only spell that I think we've seen with an actual activated ability. Because Pithing Needle, unlike Phyrexian Revoker, you can still name like Simian Spirit Guide or Elvish Spirit Guide, but it doesn't stop mana sources, whereas Phyrexian Revoker does. So the Pithing Needle, it would be useless to name one of the guides with Pithing Needle. So that leads me to believe that it would be an Uro. It could also be like a fetch land, but completely unsure. So here's a turn one. I have no idea what this spell is. It looks like it destroyed the Pithing Needle on upkeep. So Hudi drops an Ancient Tomb. So Hudi deep in the tank here. So I think he wants to aim to have like an explosive turn. Whatever this spell is. Okay, I think it might be. So from what I can tell from the text, I can't read it exactly, but it looks like it's almost like a Kataki's Warrior's Wage, where at the beginning of an upkeep, of a player's upkeep, they need to pay 1 mana for every artifact they control. Otherwise, it would destroy it or bury it. This is a tough card for Hudi to get rid of. It is a 3-drop. So Hudi opted to generate a mana with the Urza Saga instead of making a construct, which makes sense in this situation. It's going to be hard for him to hit a critical mass of artifacts. So he's going to use the mana that he floated from the Urza Saga to cast this Emery here. So he milled an Ancient Tomb, Clown Car, and an Island. I think that's a. I don't think it's a Psy. I think it might be a Kappa Cannon here. So Hudi top decks Kappa Cannoneer. Emery trying to cast a Lotus Petal from the graveyard. Not a lot of mana from Hudi's side. So Hudi casting a Psy. It's rough to play. You can't really play this Mox Opal here because it can't tap for mana to save itself if that's what the enchantment Steven has on board does. If it's almost like a Kataki. I'm very I'm very confident that it is like a Kataki's War's Wage effect. So Steven is casting a Violent Outburst, presumably at the end of Hudi's turn, but I was too deep in thought to notice. There's a Crashing Footfalls. Hudi has the Force of Will to counter the Crashing Footfalls. And I'm pretty sure it's going to resolve here. I don't think Steven has the resources to fight back. So yeah, that was at the end of Hudi's turn. Steven draws a Simian Spirit Guide for turn, and now has Shardless Agent to now find another Crashing Footfalls. Ooh, so we see if Minskin We see another one of those enchantments. Finds the other Crashing Footfalls quite deep. And this one will resolve. So all Steven has in hand is now a Simian Spirit Guide. Hudi has Kappa Cannoneer, draws the island for the turn. Emery is going to cast a Lotus Petal, giving him a Thopter. And there's a Mox Opal. So all Hudi has now in hand is the Kappa Cannoneer. I'm not sure if It's correct to pitch the Thoughtcast to the Force of Will. Okay, so he is able to cast the Kappa, so that was the correct play. So this is looking pretty rough for Hudi. This Kappa Cannoneer should only have one counter on it. Not sure why it has 5. I think what Steven might be calculating is the upkeep costs for these. So he's chosen to not pay the mana for the Shardless Agent. Because it is an artifact creature, so it does affect him as well. Whoa, he has top decked the Brotherhood's End. However, I think he can now pay for the Kappa Cannon here. Through his ancient tomb and his island. So it's not as impactful here. Still going to cast it. It may have been beneficial to attack with the rhinos first. She's dealing 3 to the board. And he's passing. Okay, so I think it's paid 2 mana to keep your stuff around. Or to keep your artifacts. Is this really at 6 counters? Okay, this makes much more sense. So now his Kappa is a 6/6. Right? I don't know what the base stats are. So Steven draws for turn. It's a Prismatic Vista. So hard casting Simian Spirit Guide. Hudi tapping the Seat of the Synod in the island to pay for the upkeep mana for the Kappa Cannoneer. So it is a base 4/4, so it is a 6/6. So Steven top decking another Shardless Agent. I think you need to start attacking at some point. I preferably would have liked to attack first. You definitely lose a Rhino, but it could change the decisions that Hoodie's making. Like sometimes he might just chump with the side. You never know. But casting more spells into it, it just gives him a lot more information. So Hudi topping the Ancient Tomb to pay for the Kappa Cannoneer to keep it alive. Takes 2 damage. If this keeps going, that's just Steven's win condition here. Steven's drawing so much mana that he can probably just pay for the Shardless Agent now, which he does. So he draws a Elvish Spirit Guide. This is another win condition as well, because it is evasive. So he's swinging with the team. So he's blocking Shardless Agent and then takes he takes 14 from 3 Rhinos and the Simian Spirit Guide. So Steven takes it in 2.